I raise my glass for another toast when I hear my name in the hallway. My brother's voice comes through the half-open door of my father's study. "She finally has enough money to save our family's vineyard," Dominic says. His words hit me hard. My promotion came at the perfect time, but not for me. Then I hear my father's deep voice. "Let's not rush. Clarissa is always careful with her money." My mother answers, "We've talked about this for weeks. The vineyard needs her help now, not later." The glass slips from my hand and breaks on the wooden floor. Red wine spreads across my cream pants and onto the oak planks my great-grandfather laid. Our vineyard's wine is now a stain on the floor. I freeze. This dinner was not to celebrate my promotion at Westbrook Design. It was a setup to make me give them my money. No, not ask. Expect. My hand shakes as I pick up the glass pieces. A shard cuts my finger, but I barely feel it. $100,000. The exact money I saved for my cabin near Yosemite. When I was 12, I begged Dad to teach me about wine with Dominic. I followed them with my notebook in hand. "Clarissa," Dad said over his shoulder, "your mother needs help in the kitchen. This is men's work." I watched through the window as he showed Dominic how to test grapes and know when to harvest. That night, Dominic's C in science was celebrated with ice cream. My academic award stayed on the fridge, unnoticed. The memory burns as I stand and leave the broken glass. By the time I open the study door, my hands are steady. 3 faces turn to me. The silence is heavy. "What were you saying about my money?" I ask, my voice calmer than I feel. If this story touched your heart, tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more stories every day. Mother speaks first, smiling. "We're just proud of you, dear. That promotion is wonderful, but I noticed something strange. My usual fear around my family is gone. In its place is something new, clarity." "I know what you were planning," I say. "You've been trying to take my money for weeks." "For Dominic's tasting room." Mother's smile fades. Dad straightens in his chair. "Your brother gave his life to this vineyard," he says firmly. "The Matthews name matters in this valley because of him." Dominic leans against the desk, arms crossed. "This isn't just about me. It's about our family's future. The tasting room could double our income, I quickly calculate. 6 years of saving, working extra, giving up weekends. 6 years of freedom, and they want it for my brother, who has never given up anything for me. That money is for my cabin," I say. "It's my future," Mother frowns. "So you care more about a vacation home than family?" "It's not a vacation home," I reply. "It's my life. And this isn't about family. It's about rescuing Dominic, again." Dad's face turns red. "You've always been selfish, Clarissa. Always thinking about yourself instead of what this family gave you." His words hang in the air. What this family gave me. Recognition with conditions. Support never equal to Dominic's. Love that felt earned, not given. "I'm not giving you my money," I say, my voice steady. "Not a single cent." Dominic steps away from the desk. "Then maybe you shouldn't think of yourself as part of this family's future." The thread is clear, being cut off. For 30 years, the fear of losing my family's love has kept me quiet, kept me chasing the approval Dominic always got for free. I look at them, the people who raised me, shaped me, and are now trying to use me. Something inside me changes. The price of keeping their approval is too high. "I guess we'll see," I say, turning to leave. Behind me, I hear my mother gasp and my father curse. But for the first time, I don't turn back to check their faces. I don't try to fix it. I just walk away. The next day at my apartment, an email glows on my laptop screen. The subject line reads, "Regarding strategies to secure Clarissa's contribution." The words burn into me like acid. My stomach twists as I fall into my desk chair. The email is from my father to the family's financial advisor. My mother and Dominic are copied. "Paul, we need to present this as an opportunity, not a request," my father wrote. "Clarissa has always been too cautious with money. Her promotion means she can finally help the family legacy. We're thinking $100,000 for a 10% stake." My mother's reply follows. "Remember to emphasize the family aspect. She's always wanted to be included." Then Dominic's words. "Let's call it Dominic's tasting room in the paperwork. After all, I'm the one keeping this place alive while she builds her little career." My hands shake as I scroll through weeks of messages. They've been planning this for months, waiting until my promotion made me useful. Not as a daughter, but as a wallet. I print every email and place them in a folder. Evidence. The next morning, I sit in my car across from Hartwell & Sons' law office. I watch my family file inside. They don't know I'm here. Since Sunday's fight, Mother has left 3 voicemails, begging to talk like adults. Father hasn't called. Through the glass window, I see them gather at the huge oak table. Mother smooths her skirt. Father checks his watch. Dominic spreads out papers. Aunt Martha sits stiffly, her hands folded. The investment papers are laid neatly in front of an empty chair. My chair. I don't go in. Instead, I call from my car. This is Clarissa Matthews. I'll join the meeting by phone only. Clarissa, darling, don't be silly. Just come inside, Mother says. I'd rather have this talk with some distance, I reply, my voice calm and firm. Roger Hartwell, the lawyer, clears his throat. We're here to discuss the investment opportunity in Matthews Family Vineyards, specifically the expansion project for Dominic's tasting room. I finish for him. Silence follows. Those were private communications, my father finally says, his voice sharp. About me. Without me, I answer. I take a deep breath. How many other family members have you asked for money? Another silence. Then Aunt Martha speaks, her voice smaller than I've ever heard. They got $50,000 from me last year, for new fermentation equipment. She pauses. The equipment was never bought. That was different, Dominic cuts in. We had extra costs with the irrigation system, but this time is different. The tasting room will change everything. Like the wine club changed everything 3 years ago? Aunt Martha asks softly. Or the online store before that. Through the glass, I see Dominic's face turn red. My phone buzzes with texts. Uncle Robert. Don't let them pressure you, Clarissa. Cousin Stephanie. Are you going to do your part for the family legacy? Grandmother's nurse. Your grandmother hopes you'll think about what family unity means to her at her age. The message is clear. If I say no, I risk losing my place with my 87-year-old grandmother, who still believes family must always stay together. The thought stings. I do the math quickly as voices drone in the background. 6 years of saving. Thousands of hours of extra work. If I give in, I'll need 4 more years to rebuild. 4 years of delaying my dream for Dominic's project. I need to go, I say suddenly. I have a meeting. Clarissa, wait, Mother begins, but I end the call. At Westbrook Design, I bury myself in work, trying to block out the weight of family pressure 40 miles away. Just before lunch, Elaine, my boss, stops by my desk. You okay? You seem distracted. Her sharp eyes behind her glasses look at me with real concern. Family stuff, I say with a weak smile. She notices the Yosemite cabin listing half hidden under my papers. That the place you've been saving for? Yes, but my family wants me to invest in my brother's vineyard expansion instead. Elaine leans against my desk. You know, when I recommended you for promotion, there were 3 other candidates. You weren't the most senior, but you were the most deserving. She taps my project proposal. Your promotion wasn't luck, Clarissa. You earned it. Her words release a tightness in my chest. One small piece of validation, in a life where I've often been overlooked. Driving home that night, I wonder if protecting my financial future is worth the family ties I might lose. Should I resist the favoritism I've lived with my whole life? Or give in once more to keep peace with the only family I have? The cabin listing lies on the passenger seat beside me, a solid promise of freedom. On my phone, 3 more missed calls from Mother. I drive on, still undecided. The next day at work, a notification pings as I review blueprints. I ignore it, focused on the Peterson project. But when my phone buzzes again, I glance down. A flood of Facebook alerts. I open it and freeze. Dominic's new post fills my screen. A sunset photo of the vineyard, vines stretching toward the mountains. His caption, family support makes dreams come true. Excited to announce expansion plans for Matthews Vineyard. Family legacy. Vineyard life point commence pour in. Cousin Melissa. So proud of you for carrying on the tradition. Aunt Joanne. A good sister always supports her brother. Family first. Uncle Stephen. Can't wait to see the tasting room with your name on it. My stomach drops. They all think I'm part of this. Without asking me, without telling me. Dominic has already cast me as the supportive sister paying for his dream. I close Facebook before I say something I'll regret. The office phone rings. I answer without looking at the caller ID. Clarissa, it's your mother. My shoulders tense. I'm at work, Mom. This will only take a moment. Your father and I are hosting a family reunion next weekend at the Vineyard. Dominic will present his expansion plans. We expect you there, of course. It's not a request, it's a summons. The pressure grows in my chest. I'll have to check my schedule, I say, though I know it doesn't matter. Family comes first, Clarissa. Saturday at 4. She hangs up before I can reply. My hand shakes as I set the phone down. They're pushing harder now, turning private pressure into public. The reunion isn't about family. It's about trapping me in front of others. 20 minutes later, my cell phone rings. The area code is from my hometown. I let it go to voicemail. Twice more it happens that afternoon. Each call makes my heart race. By the third one, I silence my phone completely. That evening, I listen to the voicemails. The first is from my bank. My mortgage officer, Mike Belton, sounds uneasy. Ms. Matthews, we need to discuss your pre-approval for the Yosemite property. Some concerns have been raised about your financial commitments. Please call me back as soon as possible. The room tilts. Concerns? What concerns? The second message answers. Uncle Robert's voice. Clarissa, just talked with Mike Belton. We go way back. Mentioned you might be stretching yourself too thin with this cabin idea, especially when the family business needs support. Call me. I drop onto the couch, sick to my stomach. They're sabotaging my mortgage. My own family is trying to ruin my financial future to secure theirs. For the next hour, I carefully document everything. Screenshots of Dominic's post and the comments, my mother's call, the voicemails. I email the bank, asking that all communication be in writing and password protected. I change every password on my financial accounts. I contact the credit bureaus to place fraud alerts on my reports. By midnight, my dining table is buried under papers, bank records, property files, loan documents. I am building a fortress around my savings, piece by piece. Then my phone rings again. An unknown number. I almost ignore it, but answer. Clarissa, it's Sandra, your real estate agent. My grip tightens. Did something happen with the mortgage? No, nothing like that, she says, her voice bright. I actually have amazing news. Remember that property in Oakhurst? The owners just dropped the price by 15%. 3 acres, beautiful mountain view, only 10 minutes from the park entrance. It's perfect for you. For the first time in days, I feel something other than fear. Is it still in my budget? With the price drop? Absolutely. Sometimes the universe makes the choice for us. She laughs. And wait until you hear what the locals call the Ridge. Independent Ridge. I laugh too. The name feels right. I want to see it. This weekend, if possible. I'll set it up, Sandra promises. After we hang up, I stand at my window, looking out at the city lights. For a moment, I can almost see it, my cabin on that ridge, a place that belongs only to me, built with money I earned myself. The doorbell rings, breaking my thoughts. It's nearly 1 a.m. I look through the peephole. My mother stands outside holding a wine bottle. I open the door without a word. She steps inside, lifting the bottle like an offering. Matthews Reserve Cabernet 1989, she says. From the year you were born. We've been saving it for a special occasion. The bottle's label shows our family crest, one that never felt like it belonged to me. In the dim light, the wine looks almost black, rare and valuable. This is just the beginning of what you'll get if you invest in the family, my mother says, placing the bottle on my counter. A case of reserve wine every year, your name on a plaque in the tasting room, your children's future secured. Bringing this bottle in the middle of the night, offering it like a bribe, it sparks something inside me. My future isn't for sale, I say softly, not even to my family. Her smile slips. Don't be dramatic, Clarissa. This is about legacy. No, it's about Dominic. It always has been. We've always supported both our children equally, she lies. The falsehood hangs heavy between us. 30 years of memories flash through my mind. The awards, the career milestones, the careful saving, all to earn recognition Dominic received just for being himself. "I think you should leave," I say. She reaches for the bottle, but I place my hand over hers. "Leave the wine. I might need it when I sign the cabin papers." The next morning at work, I find James at the coffee machine. "Can you help me draft an email?" I ask without preamble. "Threatening to quit already?" He jokes, then stops when he sees my face. "What's going on?" I explain everything as we walk to his office. He listens silently, without judgment. When I finish, he nods, opens his laptop, and starts typing. "Family financial boundaries email," he says. "Let's make it clear but professional. Direct with no drama. That way you don't burn bridges you might need later." For the next hour, we shape a message, calm, firm, and precise. No pleas, no excuses, just clear statements of my financial independence and the consequences if they interfere again. "This is perfect," I say at last. "That's what friends are for," James replies simply. That evening, I call Sandra to schedule the cabin viewing for Saturday afternoon, the exact time of the family reunion. While still on the phone, I send the email James and I wrote to my entire family. The moment I press send, a weight lifts from me. At my dining table, I open my laptop and build a spreadsheet. I compare the numbers: cabin investment versus vineyard, property values, rental income, tax benefits. The results are clear. The cabin is the smarter choice. My phone rings. "Miss Matthews, this is Eliza Cooper from First Sierra Bank. I hear you're working with Mountainside Financial, but we specialize in Yosemite vacation homes. We can offer you better terms." I smile as I add the offer to my spreadsheet. The universe seems to be pushing me toward the cabin. On Saturday evening, I drive through the iron gates of Matthews Vineyard. That morning, I had visited my new property, gathered the papers I needed, and prepared for this moment. The gravel crunches under my tires as I park beside the familiar cars. Through the tasting room windows, I see them already seated at the massive oak table. My parents, Dominic, Aunt Martha, Uncle Robert, and the family lawyer. In front of my empty chair lies a stack of LLC documents, waiting for my signature. I square my shoulders and pull my briefcase from the car. Inside are my cabin's pre-approval letter, my financial analysis, and the deed reservation for my land on Independent Ridge. It's time to show them what I've learned about real investments. I enter and take my place at the head of the oak table, the same table that has seen 4 generations of Matthews family gatherings. Every eye turns to me, some angry at my lateness, others wary, a few openly hostile. Aunt Martha fiddles with her pearls. Uncle Robert taps his fingers on his mug. Dominic sits across from me, arms crossed, jaw tight. In my hands is a folder of Vineyard financial reports from the last 10 years. 3 sleepless nights of work. I've highlighted the key numbers so no one can ignore them. "Thank you for inviting me," I begin, my voice steadier than it has ever been in this room. "Before we discuss any investment in Dominic's tasting room, let's look at the Vineyard's actual performance." I spread out the first report and slide copies across the table. For the past decade, Matthews Vineyard has operated at a profit margin of less than 2%. That's far below the industry average. Dad shifts in his chair. Mom's smile tightens. "In 2019, there was a loss of $35,000, I continue, looking each family member in the eye. And in 2021, even with record tourism in the valley, profits were only $12,000. Aunt Martha frowns and glances at Dominic. "Last year's harvest was 20% smaller than expected," I add, placing another document down. "But this year's projection claims a 30% increase, with no explanation." Dominic cuts in, his voice sharp. "Those numbers don't tell the whole story. You've never cared about the family legacy. You don't know what it takes to run a vineyard. You sit in your fancy office drawing buildings while I work the land every day." The room goes quiet. I wait for Dad to defend him, like always, but instead, Uncle Robert clears his throat. "Actually, I remember Clarissa trying to learn vineyard operations when she was younger," he says, looking at Dad. "Didn't she ask to help with the harvest and fermentation?" Dad's face reddens. "That's true," Aunt Martha says gently. "I remember Clarissa asking me about the vineyard's bookkeeping in high school. She said she wanted to help with the business side." "I was told it wasn't my place," I say quietly. that Dominic would handle the vineyard. Mom leans forward. That was years ago, Clarissa. This is about now, about family loyalty. But is it loyalty, I ask, to invest in a business I was never allowed to join? A business that hasn't been profitable in more than a decade? Relatives exchange uneasy looks. The mood in the room shifts. Grandmother Helen, silent until now, reaches across the table and touches my hand. Would you consider a smaller investment, dear? Just to keep peace in the family? I hesitate. Would giving a little keep the peace, or only invite more demands? My cabin flashes in my mind, my land, my legacy. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. Elaine's name lights up the screen. Excuse me, I say, stepping away from the table. I need to take this. Clarissa, Elaine says briskly. Sorry to interrupt, but we have an emergency with the Westridge project. The client wants revisions on the East Wing before Monday's presentation. Relief floods me. We had planned this call as an escape if family pressure grew too much. I understand, I reply, keeping my voice serious. I'll come right away. When I return to the table, faces range from disappointed to suspicious. I'm sorry, I say. There's an emergency at work. I need to leave now, I say. This is more important than your job, Dad insists. We need an answer today, Mom adds. Dominic slams his hand on the table. This is exactly why the vineyard is failing, because no one is willing to sacrifice for it. You think I haven't given everything? We're drowning in debt. The bank is threatening foreclosure if we don't show big improvements by next quarter. The room falls silent. Relatives stare at Dominic with shock. Foreclosure? Uncle Robert repeats. You never told us that. Why would my $100,000 matter if things are that bad? I ask quietly. Dominic says nothing. The silence is heavy. I think we all need time to process this. Aunt Martha says carefully. Let's meet again next weekend, after everyone reviews the numbers Clarissa provided. Dad opens his mouth to argue, but Mom stops him with a hand on his arm. That's reasonable, she says, though her eyes flash with anger. We'll meet here at the Vineyard next Saturday for a final decision. As I gather my papers, I notice Grandmother Helen watching me. Her lined face is thoughtful, and she gives me a small, almost hidden nod. I walk out with my head high, the knowledge of my cabin viewing tomorrow giving me secret strength. The next Saturday, I arrive at the Vineyard. The sun casts long shadows across the rows of grapevines. The tasting room doors stand open, letting in the cool autumn breeze mixed with the scent of grapes and tilled soil. I grip the steering wheel tighter as I see Dominic's truck beside my parents' car. They're waiting. Inside, Dad rises when I enter, smiling too wide, too forced. Mom busies herself with a tray of cheese and crackers, not meeting my eyes. Dominic stands at the window, watching workers in the fields. Clarissa, Dad says, gesturing to the empty chair. Join us for breakfast before the family arrives. I set my leather portfolio on the table but stay standing. I'm not hungry. Dominic turns from the window, straightening his vineyard polo. We've been talking and we have a special proposal for you. Mom sits beside Dad and finally looks at me. We know how much your independence means to you, so we adjusted our offer. An exclusive family deal, Dad adds, sliding a folder toward me. Instead of 10% ownership, we're offering 15%. I open the folder. The words blur as anger rises in my throat. 15%, Dominic repeats smoothly. That's a 50% increase in your stake. No one else in the family gets these terms. Dad leans forward, fingers pressed together. $100,000 for 15% of a vineyard that's been in our family for 4 generations. Your great-grandfather would be proud. Mom touches my wrist. Family supporting family, she says. The unspoken message is clear. Refuse, and I'm choosing money over family. I close the folder slowly, steadying my breath. My heart pounds, but my voice is calm when I finally speak. I've already invested my money. The silence stretches tight around the table. Mom pulls her hand back from my wrist. What do you mean? Dominic demands, crossing the room quickly. I unzip my portfolio and pull out a stack of photographs, placing them on the table one by one. I bought a cabin in Oakhurst last week, 2 acres, with views of Yosemite. The first photo shows a rustic A-frame hidden among tall pines. The second shows the wide mountain view from the back deck. The third shows the deed, with my name printed clearly across it. "You bought property without telling us?" Mom whispers, her fingers hovering over the pictures. "Just like you discussed my finances without telling me," I answer, meeting her eyes without flinching. "I've invested in my own legacy, one I built myself." Dad's face hardens. "This is incredibly selfish, Clarissa. Your brother has had every advantage I never did. And he's still asking for more," I finish. The tasting room door swings open. Uncle Robert enters with Aunt Judith and grandmother, followed by more relatives carrying dishes for the reunion lunch. I hadn't expected so many so early. Perfect. Dominic forces a smile for the newcomers, but mutters under his breath, "We're not done." "Actually, we are," I say, turning to the family at large. I raise my voice slightly. "Since everyone's here, I'd like to share something important about the Vineyard expansion." The room quiets as I take out my laptop and connect it to the tasting room's wall display. "I've reviewed the Vineyard's finances for the past decade," I begin, clicking through charts that show profits shrinking even as production grew. Based on current debt and market forecasts, the expansion would need 5 investors at $100,000 each to be profitable within 5 years. Uncle Robert steps closer, frowning at the screen. 500,000? Dominic said you'd need just 1 or 2 investors. Dominic lunges forward. "Her numbers are wrong. She doesn't understand the business." "Which numbers are wrong?" I ask calmly, scrolling through the report. "The overhead costs you reported to the bank last quarter, or the profit projections you gave potential investors last month." Dominic's mouth opens and closes, but no words come. He realizes I have the same financial records he used for his loan. "These numbers contradict each other," I continue, pointing to the mismatches. "Either the Vineyard is in worse shape than you admit, or you misled your investors." Uncle Robert removes his glasses and rubs his eyes. "Maybe it's time we think about professional management for the Vineyard instead of more family money." The room fills with murmurs. I meet grandmother's gaze, bracing for disappointment. But instead, she gives me a small nod, her eyes shining with something close to respect. That evening, as I drive back to my condo, my phone buzzes with texts. Rumors say 3 investors have already backed out of the Vineyard. My parents haven't called or messaged since the reunion. When my phone chimes again at midnight, I brace for another angry family message. Later that evening, as I drive back to my condo, my phone buzzes with texts. Rumors say 3 investors have already pulled out of the Vineyard. My parents haven't called or messaged since I left the reunion. At midnight, my phone chimes again. I expect another angry family member. Instead, it's Dominic. "We need to talk privately. I have a new proposal." I set the phone down without replying. Outside, city lights shimmer through my window. Whatever Dominic's new proposal is, I will face it on my terms, not his. For the first time in my life, that feels like enough.